So I recently received an email from someone who said that they don't know what to do with their life, what their passion is, where to go, or where to even start. And I see this a lot these days. People ask me about this because there's all this pressure to figure life out. And there's this assumption that you need to know what you want to do, who you want to be before you're 30 or when you're 21 and you go to college, university, or whatever you're going to do. And it just doesn't work that way. It seems to me that people figure out what they want to be, what they want to do and who they want to be when they're 40, 50. So if that's the case, if that's the natural flow of things, that means that there's really no figuring life out. If you're 20 or 30, then enjoy the ride, because this moment, this period in your life is about the discovering what you want to do and what you don't want to do. So it's about living life and being the passenger and witnessing life and seeing what draws you, what feels magnetic, what feels alive. Now, a lot of the suffering comes from you thinking that you need to have things figured out and that there's something wrong if you don't know what you want to do and who you're going to become, and you don't have a career when you're 30 and all that stuff. Now, you can force yourself into a career. Chances are you won't be too happy about it if you haven't followed your heart into that. So if it doesn't feel alive. But at the same time, it doesn't really matter because you're discovering what works and what doesn't. So feel free to make mistakes. But what I really want to hone in on is the mental suffering we create for ourselves by thinking that we have to have this thing called life figured out, and it doesn't work that way. So what can you do? Well, the only thing you can do is do your best in this moment. Notice what you feel interested in, and that's it. You follow your heart, your inner GPS, your intuition in each moment, and you notice what life brings to you. What tends to happen is that you rush. You want to figure things out, so you rush, you force things, and you end up frustrated because your life doesn't work, because you're pushing too hard. You aren't noticing what comes to you naturally and what happens, what life brings, basically. So if you don't know what your life is about, it's normal. Even if you're 40 or 50 and you don't know, it's normal, because that's what's going on in your life. It's what's true in this moment. So if you haven't figured it out, it doesn't matter, because you don't have to figure life out through your mind. It happens through your body, and learning to listen to that inner whisper within you and learning to notice what feels alive. And it's so simple, yet it's so difficult, because the mind wants to grab control of your life and it wants to make sure that you're safe and all those things. But once you start following your inner GPS, or in my case, once I started following my heart, my mind saw that it's a much better way to live. It's much more logical, because it ends up being much more fulfilling and fun, and things seem to work out. Now, most people, or many, will disagree with me, so this is what works for me, and I urge you to experiment with this and see if it's true in your own life. You've probably lived your whole life trying to figure things out and trying to live logically, so it's time to try the other side. And it's not really about logic versus something else, it's simply about what works in your life and what feels alive to you. Because when you follow your inner GPS, you start noticing that you feel more fulfilled. You feel on purpose, you feel like you're on the right track. So experiment with this, and don't worry if your mind is freaking out. Do your best in this moment and see what happens. And click like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll talk to you soon.